Didn't know the terminology.
You're totally fine because they also don't know the terminology.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay.
So it's like I recently referred to them as lesbians, to my partner, and then my mom was like, "Oh, they're calling us that now," and I was just like, "Yeah, like I'm saying it how I see it," but it's like they've never identified with it like specifically. So I don't really know. One time my mom made a joke, and I just told Zach this joke the other day, but one time my mom made a joke at a family party where she was like, "Oh, like I'm not bisexual, I'm trisexual. I'll try anything." And then I was just like,
What?
I just remembered that. So I had to share that. So I don't know what their sexual identity is, to be quite honest, but I do know that they've been partnered for like the past 23 years.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but what kind of, like, where they kind of come from is it, like, wasn't really the normal thing. Like, during this time, like, as society seen it, it was man and woman and you lived together. And it's like, if you were gay, they were your roommate, It's like, kind of, like, they were your roommate, like, they were your friend. Like, people weren't so, like, open about their sexuality then. So, like, it was kind of...
Or them being, like, partners.
Exactly. So, it's just, like, it kind of wasn't seen as a norm then, which is, I find to be odd, and I can't judge them for doing, how they play out their relationship, because, you do what feels safe to you. But part of the reason why I don't understand why is because, like, they have, like, a very, from what I know, at least on my biological mom's side, a very accepting family. It's like there were other queer people in our family, like, openly, but it's like, I guess my mom just didn't feel safe with that. I don't really know. I can't speak for her, but they kind of have always been just like, on the down low, like, it's kind of like hush hush, like, there's really no, like, public representation that, like, we're in a relationship, like, they're my friend or they're my roommate.
How do you feel having two mothers has influenced your like LGBTQIA experience?
So I feel like the way that it influenced it is that I didn't know really, like, I heard things like rumors from my family and stuff, but it's like I didn't know that my parents were together until I was like 12 or 13. So I didn't really know that my parents were gay. Like, I just thought like they were not together. Like,
Gotcha.
I just thought that they were friends and roommates this whole entire time, but it's like I always looked up to my other mom as a mom, but they were just friends at this time. So they didn't openly come out to me until I was the age of 12 or 13. So I guess I can say that it really almost didn't have any influence on me, just because I didn't really know it growing up.
You thought they were just friends.
Yeah, exactly. So I thought that they were just friends, and it's like, so I kind of was able to create my own experience, but it's like, my parents still kind of had these old ideologies that, like, I had to kind of be hush-hush about it, like, I had to kind of, there was a time and place almost kind of thing, and that was kind of, like, they were very accepting, but also it was, like, time and place kind of, like, down low vibe, too. But, I mean, over time, I kind of was just like, well, I'm going to do what I want to do. And I feel like that's kind of a shitty attitude to have. But I'm very grateful that they let me have it because it allowed me to express how I wanted to, whether they liked it or not. So, yeah.
So what do you think having representation in the community, having a community itself, helps people who are questioning?
I think that it helps people who are questioning because it allows them to explore the community and see different parts of it, and it's like whether you want to put a label on it, whether you don't, it allows you to see the different aspects of each part of the community. And I think knowing that you have it behind you is very fulfilling because you know that there is support. And I feel like that's one reason why I'm so grateful for, like, the internet and, like, social media is because it allows us to really see, like, what's out there and explore, like, either a gender identity or a sexuality. So I think that having that support behind you is so significant, and it just seems like there's more and more outlets each day. Like, I feel like, not to toot our own horn, but I just feel so grateful to be, like, a non-binary, like, trans outlet. Like, I think that that's amazing because I haven't seen that yet, so it's like just a community broadening itself everywhere in so many different, like, types of industries and places, and art and media, it really just feels good to know that you're not alone.
Okay, well, I am super grateful that we do have media representation. A place where we get a lot of it is in music. Zach, what was the first album that you ever owned?
So I feel like mine kind of set out for me to be who I am today. So we all know who Miss Avril is. So my first CD ever was the Avril Lavigne Let Go CD. I was like so emotional. That one song about like her in the rain and it being a damn cold night, like that was my tea at the time. Skater boy. I knew that I wanted to be with the skater boy when I like grew up. Like, you know, just so many different types of things. So I feel like that really kind of helped to influence my identity, and like because it was one of my first albums, but also alongside that, I had a Shania Twain album. So I don't know if you know who Shania Twain is. Yes. Okay, great. But I didn't know that she was a gay icon up until I grew up, or a queer icon up until I grew up, because I just remember like being little, like 4 years old, and like having my little CD player and like my little over-the-head headphones. Like AirPods weren't a thing yet. And I was listening to that song, Man, I Feel Like a Woman.
Yes!
Like that one, like, I would just sing that song all the time. Like, that was my jam. And she has a lot of other ones that I feel like really set out my values, like, for life, you know? Where it's like, I can be late, but you better show up on time, like, kind of vibe, you know?
Yes, like, empowering.
Yes. Empowering. You know, she was just, like, a feminist, and I loved it. So, yeah. So that album came from my cousin Angela. She recommended it for me when I was like 4 years old, and I was like wearing like these little like Tigger overalls and like a little yellow t-shirt underneath. Yes. And then the Shania Twain came from my parents.
How old was your cousin Angela?
At the time of me being 4, she was 13.
Oh, okay, so she is a little older than you.
Yeah, so I mean there was a really huge age gap, but it's just like, you know, we've always been connected during that time of my childhood. And then
cute. So is there a song or an artist right now that you just have on repeat that you can like listen to all day long?
2 songs right now. I can give you 3 songs actually. So it started off with 911. I really liked 911 when it first came out. I know I sound cliche, but I really liked 911 when it came out. And then when the music video came out, I just wanted to keep listening to it so I can see the visuals like in my head. And then I watched the MTV Music Awards, and Miley Cyrus, that was the first time I think I heard Midnight Sky. No. I listened to the song before and I was like, this is a good song, I think. And then I saw her VMA performance, and I was like, oh my god, like I just love it. So those 2 songs fully playing on repeat. And then most recently, Melanie Martinez is like coming out of her little shell, her little cave, and she just came out with a song called The Bakery, and like it's kind of like fun and dancey and cute. And so those are my 3 songs like on repeat right now. There's not one day that I don't listen to them.
I love that. So have you watched the performance that Miley Cyrus did on iHeartRadio, the music festival? Oh my gosh, she does a cover to Heart of Glass, and I think you would eat...
By Blondie?
You would eat that up. You would love that.
Okay. So remember how I told you that I saw The Bride of Chucky when I was like 4... like in that age range? Yes. That's when I also first discovered Blondie, and I fell in love with Blondie, and her song Call Me came on, and from there I would always hear her songs on the radio, and I always knew when it was her. Loved Blondie from there on out. So Miley doing Blondie, oh my god, I cannot wait to hear it.
So good. Her voice like fits it really well, so I was really impressed by that. I think you'll appreciate it.
Oh my god, I'm so excited. Ah! Okay.
So so now that you're kind of got like your songs that you have on repeat right now, what are some artists that you like are really drawn to? It doesn't have to be necessarily like just their music. It could be their persona or the emotion that you feel when you see them or listen to them.
So when I was young, I can say, like, the most significant one to me, like I said, was, like, Avril Lavigne, like, for a while before, like, you know, she kind of, like...
She was so skater and so...
Yeah, like,
cute.
when she was all punk, like, that was my vibe. So from there on out, I basically just gravitated towards, like, Lady Gaga. Like, Lady Gaga was my first one that I gravitated to, and it's just because, like, she was so weird and she was so different, and, like, she loved the community, like, from the bat, you know, and it was kind of like a safe haven for me. Then I discovered Coco Rosie, and they're really cute because they're, like, this feminist, like, girl group. There's two of them, and, like, they do things with, like, mustaches and, like, masculine, like, vibes, and, like, you know, they're just so, like, it's very different. I would describe it as, like, indie alternative folk kind of vibe, but it's just, like, I love them because they're so different, and, you know, in their music, they don't use, like, sometimes they don't use, like, electronic beats. Like, they'll use, like, toys or, like, you know, chains running across a can, or, like, you know, so I very much love that vibe. And that's someone who actually inspired Melanie Martinez, and I feel like that's why I like her. But other artists would be artists like Korn, and System of the Down and Marilyn Manson, and I feel like I kind of like them, you know, because it's like they do, like, as far as, like, Korn and Marilyn Manson, and maybe they don't see it like this, but I see it like this, is they kind of have, like, feminine, like, traits. Like, they're not shy with their feminine side, and I like that. And then System of a Down is because they're very theatrical, so it makes me feel like I could be weird, like, while I'm listening to, like, metal music. But yeah, those are, like, a lot of artists that, like, I gravitate towards. I know it's kind of weird to go from, like, pop, indie, alternative folk to, like, metal, but
no, I totally think, and it makes sense. I feel like all of those, like, you draw something different from all of them, but they all really just seem to be, like, I see the theme there is, like, really playing with gender and gender expression and everything. So I think that's so fun.
Yeah,
and I love the fact that you have, like, such a broad variety of music that you like dabble in. I kind of like that.
And it's like, you know, in between all of those, like, it's everything on the spectrum, you know. So it's like, I feel like, me personally, I'm not limited to what I listen to. So
Gotcha.
I really have a lot of fun when it comes to music.
So you recently moved in with your partner. I want to talk a little bit about. So your name is Zach.
Yes.
And your partner's name is Zach.
Yes.
And you have a Zach Army.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
Okay. Let's chat. Let's talk about it.
All of these. So my name is Zach, Z-A-C. Their name is Zach, Z-A-C-H. And then all of our plants are either Z-A-K, Z-A-Q, Z-A... no, it's X-A-Q, X-A-C, X-A-K. Like, it's different spellings of the name Zach.
Of Zach.
Yeah. So, you know, we just play around with them and have fun. And it kind of comes with me personifying things that don't need to be personified. But, you know, I just kind of pulled the idea that, like, because the first plant that I ever bought, I bought it with them. And I was just like, I think I'm going to name this plant Zach. Like, I just, like, want to have, like, a Zach army with you. And, you know, from there on out, it's just kind of played on, and we only continue to add to the army. So planning to have a empire one day.
Yes that is my favorite thing ever. When you told me, I was, like, literally wheezing. I thought it was so funny and so cool.
Thanks.
Yeah, it was like, oh my gosh, I love your plant. Oh, that's Zach with a Q.
With the Q.
How do you think your partner and you both being trans affects your relationship?
Honestly, it's really amazing. Because when we first started dating, I was not trans nor non-binary yet. I still identified as, like, a pansexual male. So, you know, like, when I had met them and I had seen them on Tinder, which is where we met, I seen them on Tinder, and basically how I came across their profile was, it was the day after my birthday, and my coworker took me out to lunch, and then, like, we were driving on the way back, and she was like, oh, like, if you were to have a kind of person, what kind of person would they be? And I was like, you know, like, I don't really know what that looks like. Like, let me scroll on Tinder. And it's like, I barely fucking use Tinder. Like, that shit was boring to me. But I was like, you know, for this special occasion, I'll pull up Tinder. So I pulled up Tinder, and I was like, swiping left, swiping left, swiping left, swiping left. Like, it was just consistent swiping lefts. And then I I come across this person named Zach's profile. So I saw their profile and I was like, oh, if I were to have a particular person, like a